stream up. Okay.
Joe Fox, where did you go? Karen Skye needs to know. Dakota, the man who knows the ways. Dances, songs, and drums you play. When your mother died, grief took you down, but your auntie won't let you stay. Lost now, we need to find Joe. Bring him home, Karen searching. You're not alone, ready to kick butts. Taking every name, finding Joe is her mission. She won't stop, won't back down. Searching every single town. She's helped other family, never thought she'd be here on this side of the search, but she has no fear. You have good humor and laughter fill the room, protective of your family, but lost in the gloom. Karen Skye won't stop, she won't back down on this side, but she knows the fight. She'll bring you home to the light. You loved your mother with all you had when someone cared for you instead. No matter the downfall or the pain, your family's love always remains. They're ready to wrap you in love so true, with their waiting arms open wide. Karen's prepared to be your guide. We need to find Joe, bring him home right now. Karen Skye is searching, she'll see him somehow. Ready to fight hard, take every name. She'll turn this world upside down, ignite the flame. We need to find Joe before he's seen. She won't give up, won't back down. No matter the downfall, no matter where you've been, your family cares. They want you home again. No matter the pain or the fall, your family is ready to wrap you in love through it all. Arms open wide, they're waiting there. Come back to the people who have always cared. She's been on the other side, she knows the fight. Help family search through the darkest night. But now it's personal, now it's her blood. Karen Skye is coming like a flood. The Dakota community needs you here. Your presence, your spirit, they hold you dear. We need to find Joe and bring him home right now. Karen Skye is searching and we'll find him somehow. The family is waiting.
Live on the air, it's Trial Junkies United with your host, the...
Greetings to the truth seekers and the justice warriors out there. I'm Z, your storyteller in the wilderness of injustice. My ride or die, Doc, is riding shotgun as we navigate the darkness when the predators are hunting and the system fails. We're ready to shed light on the forgotten stories that society wants to leave buried. Buckle up. The road ahead is going to get rough as we guide you through another chapter of the nightmare they call the justice system. Trial Junkies, and this is Thursday night edition. We dedicated exclusively to our Indigenous and Native brothers and sisters. And tonight we're going to share a story that hits close to home for our guest and raises more questions than answers. And joining me tonight is Karen Skye, a woman who doesn't just talk about change, she is the change. She's been on the front lines of the MMIR, MMIP, MMIW crisis for years, and her work speaks for itself. She's been an alcohol and drug counselor, aide at Thunderbird Wren Halfway House, a volunteer at the Warriors of the 21st Century, a lead advocate at the MHA Nations Domestic Violence Program. She's also had the education and support group facilitator at Mending the Sacred Hoop. But Karen's resume only tells part of her story. This woman is hands-on. She's built relationships with families who have lost loved ones. She's gotten her hands dirty in the searches, using her love of motorcycles to organize rides for families, to donate money to the family of the missing and murdered Indigenous relatives. She doesn't back down. Karen, welcome to Trial Junkies United. We are honored to have you. Oh, anytime, darling. But before we dive in, Doc, we got a surprise that everyone's going to be really deliciously excited about because Karen, you're related to one of our favorites, which is Lissa Yellowbird Chase.
Yay!
Yes, I am. my little cute niece. My feisty little niece.
She's such a delicate little flower.
Yeah,
and
she
gets
is.
It from her, she gets it from her Aunt Karen, who's also a very delicate little flower. But not when it comes to their work. And your background is extensive. I was amazed. You worked at an adult correction office as an adult corrections officer?
Yeah, I was adult correctional officer for the Mandan Hidatsa Rikara Nation. When our correctional center just opened. So I was part of the new group that went in after graduating college with my criminal justice degree.
Oh, that is amazing. And my group in the chat's already saying, welcome, Karen. This is amazing. So you also went to the United Tribes Technical College in criminal justice. You studied criminal justice. And so you've seen this crisis from all angles. But this is going to be a different side for you, isn't it? Because this tonight, she's not just an advocate, you guys. She's the aunt of someone who is missing. Tell us about your nephew, Joseph Fox.
Well, Joe, he's a pretty strong individual. He loves his family. He's very outspoken. He's very protective of his siblings. He's protective of family. He's very involved in the American Indian ways. He sings at a drum. He knows how to do ceremony. He knows the sweat songs. He knows ceremonial songs. He does hand drum. He's a beautiful traditional dancer. He makes his own regalia. He loves helping people. He loves showing his talent to other people. He's very smart when it comes to speaking to people who are like his siblings. He'll just kind of stand back and watch them. I like how he does that. He'll stand back and then he'll kind of shake his head and he'll go up and tell them, then he'll give them his advice. And he's just a really, really wonderful vocal person when it comes to his family. He'll stand up for them. He's a lot of the humor as a fox. So my mother is a red fox. That's how I'm his aunt. His mom was my sister. We have a sense of humor that can just go on and on and on. We can make something crazy over a little simple thing, and then we just keep adding on to it. Like for instance, when I first met my husband, who I'm married to, and I introduced him to my Fox family, Joe and LaDonna and all of us, and he wasn't really smiling much, and he didn't know what to say. And I remember LaDonna said, well, he must not like us because he's not laughing. Because that's just how we are. We just love to make people laugh. And then LaDonna said something like, hey, he said, if you don't want to laugh and have fun with us, then you can't be with my sister. Because we're making fun of you because we like you. Don't get offended. And then Joel would jump in and they add on. It's just, we could just sit at a table and laugh throughout the night. It's the kind of family I have. And Lissa too. Lissa is also a fox. She's a fox herself from her grandmother.
And so Joe in 2013 had gone to college in Ellendale, right?
Yep.
And that was when he had his first contact with the Warrior Circle organization. And this was a group that was started by a man. His name is Joe Donnell. And Joe is kind of an interesting character. He's also a native from South Dakota. And this was a Christian nonprofit working with Native Americans to develop their leadership skills, they said. And so, but Donnell, he was also a state representative. And let's talk about him for just a second. That at one point he did a podcast, you guys, and he claimed that God revealed to him that there's a direct ley line from Mount Rushmore to Washington, D.C., and that demonic forces were using the monument as a Freemason shrine to practice witchcraft. And then he said that it spread communism. And of course, the monument, the people that run the monument there said they had no comment, and I don't blame them. Because this guy kind of sounds a little odd. And he was the one, though, that started this Warrior Circle. And he got Joe involved because he was going to colleges, right? To get young men to follow him.
Yeah.
And
And
Joe,
I think that Joe Donnell was also going to college or working there. He was also, he was in college in Salford working.
okay.
That Joe Donnell, that is.
Okay. And so he got involved with this organization. And then eventually Joe Donnell, I think after those comments came out on the podcast, and then in 2025, January, he left his, political thing. And somebody new supposedly took over the Warrior Circle. And her name is Tamara Grove and her husband Ian. Now, she's also a representative in South Dakota as the first African American native elected to the state Senate. And she works for drug reform and the First Step Act. And she's a reverend and her husband's a pastor. And they claim Joe Donnell has nothing to do with the Warrior Circle anymore. But the interesting thing is his picture is still on their website. They have pictures of him because they also have a church that they've affiliated with this. And they have pictures of him in this church giving a sermon not that long ago, maybe last year. And so,
just to let everybody in the chat know, we're having some technical difficulties here.
okay.
So with the sound, I don't know what's going on. We're having a little you guys sound a little robotic. So
Okay.
So we're going to try and fix it.
Okay. So while he's working on this down, we'll kind of continue our story because it involves it's how Joe Fox, her nephew, got involved in all of this. LaDonna Coleman, one of our, she says the internet is glitching. They don't want the word out.
Yep.
Yeah,
probably would.
if
It
they
probably is
could,
not too far from the truth.
because this woman actually posted on Karen's Facebook page to stop talking about them. Can you guys believe that? Her nephew's missing. He was part of this group, and they're sitting there telling her, not, oh, we're so sorry, that Joe's missing, your nephew, Joe Fox. Just stop talking about us. And what was the weird comment she made, Karen, that I told you was odd?
Well, what she did, she inboxed me on my Facebook and Messenger instead of, and she goes, we don't know no Joe Fox. He is not associated with our organization. You need to take that post down because we have nothing to do with it. He is not associated or affiliated with our organization.
Right.
And she asked me to take it down. I mean, demanded me to take it down. And I didn't respond. I just left it at.
Well, and the one comment that I thought was really strange is she goes, he disappeared before we took over. And I'm like,
Oh
how
yeah,
did you know
that's
when
right. She
how do you
said
know when he
left.
disappeared?
Yeah, when he disappeared, he wasn't a part of the warrior circle when he went missing.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
But now pin that name, you guys, the Warrior Circle, because it's going to come back into our story in just a little bit here. Now, I had one of our lovely friends do a little tracking for me, and she found out that this Warrior Circle is actually is coming from, it's called the Glory of Zion International Ministries, but the address is the church that Reverend Tamara Groves and her husband run. Okay. And it's also funding the Warrior Circle. And that's all from the Warrior Circle and this church that they run called the Hope Center of Lower Buell. Is that how you say it, Karen? Buell?
Lower Burl.
Burl. Okay. So
Burl.
now from there, Joe ends up deciding to go to Arizona because a relationship didn't work out. Was that kind of what it was? And he wanted a new start?
Yeah, he left here because the relationship he had here, they weren't compatible, and he left.
And that happens. And so he wanted to go somewhere new. And we eventually, because you were concerned and had contacted the tribe to see about, because Joe gets, being a member of the tribe, he gets quarterly checks, correct?
Yep.
He gets a certain amount. We don't need to know the amount, but he gets an amount from the tribe. And so you contacted them just to see, hey, did Joe get his check? And what did you find out there?
He got his April check of this year, 2025. Got his April check, but his August, the one we just recently got, it got rejected from the bank and was sent back up to the reservation, to the People's Fund.
And so that's concerning because this is a man that depends on his money. I mean, come on. You expect your quarterly checks. So when he was down in Arizona, you found out that the address they had for Joe, the tribe had, was in Glendale, right?
Yep.
So we did some searching and we looked up the address. The house is for sale and it was used as a sober house, which was interesting. And then we found out from a very good friend who did a little legwork for us that the lease for this house belonged to Warrior Circle. So see, here we connect this again. So the house supposedly has been sitting empty for a year and they're trying to sell it now. Now on Joe's Facebook page, you had found out he had gone to Fiji. And you actually, the last contact, when was the last contact you had from Joe?
I got a message from him on August 5th, 2024. He needed money for his passport. He was trying to get out of Fiji and back into New Zealand.
Right.
That was in 2024.
And we were trying to we were having some trouble figuring that out. So we sent out messages to people from his Facebook page, and we found one of the young men that had been with Joe, that was very sweet and gave us quite a bit of information. And Joe had gone over, someone introduced him to a group called YWAM. That's Youth with a Mission. And it's a worldwide Christian movement dedicated to spreading the Christian faith. And it's by sending out young people to do evangelistic work. And they train them and send them out on what they call outreach programs. And so what we found out is he had been to New Zealand first, right, Karen? He had gone to
Yep.
this class and he'd been there for a couple of months. And then they sent him over to Fiji for his outreach. That was his outreach that he was supposed to go do. Um, and what we found with the outreach while he was over there, because he posted pictures. They were doing, it looked like yard work, didn't it? They were cutting
Yep.
stuff, brush,
Cutting
and
trees, cutting weed. Yeah.
yeah,
Still working.
it looked like a lot of physical work. And so this friend that we had contacted, because um, he said that when they got ready to go back to New Zealand after their outreach, that was July 18th of 2024, you guys, they were at the airport and they found that Joe couldn't go back into New Zealand because he didn't have a traveler's visa. And it was like 60 or $75, I think, for this visa. So that's why he didn't contact you until the 5th of August. So there was a few
Yeah.
days in there that he was on his own. And in fact, one of his last pictures that he had posted, when you look at it, it's really kind of sad because he makes the comment how alone he felt because the group had left him. Now, his friend John said that he had contacted another friend, and that friend took Joe to his place. So he had a place to stay. But then the other morning, I got a Facebook message from one of his from a friend of his that said Joe had written him saying he wished he hadn't got mixed up with this group, that they had taken his April money, and because they said somebody had paid half of his tuition to this school, but he owed them money. So they took his money, and he said, "They've left me with nothing." So here he was in a foreign country. This organization took his money, which would have been the YMAW organization,
Hmm.
and he had nothing. I mean, but
I,
like I told you, Karen, I still can't believe his friends just left him at the airport.
I can only imagine how he was feeling because it's just I I was sent from my job down to Monterrey, Mexico one time by myself, and I was in my car and driving around and I got lost. Talk about stopping and nobody speaks English. I didn't speak Spanish. So, I can only feel for what he was going through because if he didn't have a circle of friends around him that spoke his language, I'm sure he was feeling left out and alone.
Yeah. And he only did about, I think, 3 posts after he did like 3 posts on the 18th. He redid his cover shot. He did the shot where he said he really felt lonely, that he was the only native. And then I think there was another one. And then the next very last photo thing on Facebook was on the 22nd, and all he did was repost someone else's. It was a warrior dance, and he reposted that. So then his friend John told us that he went and contacted some friends, and he said that his friend that had I think took him from the airport to his house, took him on the 13th of August to the airport to get on a plane for the US. We have questions about who paid for his ticket because if they'd taken his money, we don't know if
Yeah, that would be nice to know.
now
Yep.
in his text or in his DM, he did say that guy was going to that the organization was supposed to refund him. Maybe they did. Maybe that's how he ended up getting a ticket. I don't know. But we had no contact after that. You didn't know where he was. You had
No,
heard some
none of
rumors,
us did.
maybe California.
Mhm.
And so when I contacted you the first couple of days ago and we started talking, I said, "Have you done your police report?" And you said, "Well, I'm going to go do it." And so you went and because I told you, I said, "Get that police number. That will help you tremendously." And you got your police number.
Mhm.
You got him, didn't you?
Yeah.
Lazy River made the comment that these things happen to such nice people. As long as you have people that will prey on others, there will always be the prey. I mean, that's an unfortunate fact in the world that we live in. So,
Well, yeah, and there's some sketchy stuff about those sober houses in
mhm,
Arizona because
yeah.
there was an article about a bunch of them that it was a scam, that they were bilking the government for money. They were picking up people and putting them in because one of the people, I don't even know if I got to tell you this, she said she had met Joe in a place called Blue Sage, which was a sober house in 2022. Well, the guy that ran that got put in jail. You know, so it's crazy. But so the last we figured is we didn't know where he was because all we had was the word of the one guy saying he took him to the airport. But what did you find out today?
Well, today I found out this morning, getting ready for the day, Fargo PD officer who did the report gave me a call, and he let me know that someone had called in. Well, first he said he called, got a hold of San Francisco County, the county over there, to find out if they had a Joe Fox. They did. Back in the late March of 2024, he was arrested in San Francisco and released. But there is an active warrant for him now, they said. So, but they're not worried about that because it won't even be, it's not an extradition type warrant. So if he's here, it won't matter. But he said he got a phone call also late last night. He got a message that somebody had saw him because Fargo PD had put his flyers out on social media. They saw him and he was in Dickinson at a Lucky Liquors establishment yesterday.
And how far is
And
that
he
from
said
you? How
it's
far
about
is
an hour,
Dickinson?
a little under 2 hours away from where I'm at.
Okay.
And God, I want to go so bad, but I have grandkids I'm raising.
Right.
But
And
I
that's
did put it on place. Go ahead.
right. And that's part of the problem is because when Joe disappeared, you didn't know he had disappeared right away because you've had some tragedy in your family. You've had some deaths, and you're now raising a bunch of your grandkids. So when someone else in the family said, "Hey, have you heard from Joe?" All of a sudden it was like, "No," and people started, got it going that, and of course Karen took the lead because we have to have someone that's thinking clearly, and she was, to reach out to people to find out what was going on. So he could be in North Dakota. We're not sure. You have the one sighting, but like you said, who's to know if it's actually him? We do know he at least made it out of Fiji.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't understand. I can't imagine how he felt when he got left behind. Do you think
Well,
one of the reasons he wouldn't come home right away is because he was embarrassed?
probably embarrassed. And Joe is really his mindset. He's like a really like he always wants to. He's kind of a leader type personality, and if something needs to be done, boom, he'll get it done. So I believe he got so hurt and probably embarrassed. Just and not only that, the betrayal of people you trust can really eat you up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I believe he just it broke his spirit to be taken advantage the way he was by a group of people that he put his whole heart of trust into because they're using the name of God or Jesus for that. And I believe because of that, it just broke his spirit. I mean, how do you leave? I mean, just like now, I'm not even Joe, but when you were describing, and I was visualizing him being left behind there in the country, it angered me. It angered me because that's my nephew
Yeah.
behind, and you're taking his money. You're benefiting off this individual who does have a family, who a lot of us see Joe as a man who's very self-sufficient. He's a man's man. He takes care of himself. He's always been into fitness. He's a boxer. So a lot of us didn't really think that he could be put in the type of situation he was in. So I really think that was probably why Joe, or maybe none of us responded to him at one time because we did. His sentences and his messages were really odd. And being a scamming community out here now on social media, it's really hard to trust. Am I giving money to my nephew? Is this
Right.
really you on that other end? So it could be that too. He's like, well, they didn't care about me, and they didn't send me that. But yeah, he has to understand. We didn't even know he was in Fiji. So if you're going to come at me and say, well, I'm in Fiji, I didn't even know. So am I really talking to my nephew? Then he wouldn't
Right.
respond. So I think that was when maybe his phone went out of service. I don't know, but he quit responding.
And
And
and th and that was
but
another
Joe
thing
is
that was something you had told me was that before when he'd asked to borrow money for something, you'd always tell him, "Give me a receipt," so that
yeah,
everything's kosher, everything's even, everybody, "Okay,
yeah.
this is what you're using it for," and you've never had a
And
problem
we
with him doing that.
yeah, like where are you at? And now we're just like nothing. It was nothing. A lot of us noticed that. Like my niece Sarah, who's the one that started, who's actually put that out there. Hey, by the way, anybody hear from Joe? And that was during his younger brother who was dying in a hospital. We couldn't get a hold of him, and I think that's what woke everybody up. Like, hey, none of us have heard from because we are such a big family. We are such a big family that I'm sure every one of us thought he was connected to one of us. But then
Right.
when we found out he was not connected to any of us, that's when we start moving on a missing flyer for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, because his younger brother did pass away, and so that was a big
Mhm.
sign when he didn't show up, because he was kind of the caretaker of, checking on his siblings, you know? And so I can't imagine, Karen, what you've been through trying to figure out, especially when you find out he's in another country. That's not so
Yeah,
easy. Just hop on your bike or in your vehicle and go find out what's going on, you know?
Doesn't work that way.
no, that part was really. I think all of us were really scared about that part because how if he is over there, how do we contact him? How do we get him home? Um,
Yeah.
and at least we got once we got the ball rolling, and once we did that police report, that's how I was able to speak more open with the tribe, our reservation up in Fort Berthold.
Right.
Then they were able to give us more information, the name of the bank, the time span of the checks being sent to him, into the last one, August, when it came back. And that was how we got his physical address of his last mailing address was the one in Arizona, the house that's being sold. That came from the tribe. And
Yeah.
if it wasn't for for them to give us that number, his case number,
Right.
we would have been still knocking on that door saying we need some help. But it really did. And I am very thankful that this young officer took us seriously enough to do that report for us. Because at first, my experience with this, at first, a lot of them say, well, maybe they don't want to be found. Or maybe they're just doing their life. Or maybe, yeah, there's a lot of these
Right.
pushback on us to do these files. So that day we went, we were blessed to have an officer that listened to us and did that job for us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's what Lissa always says. The young officers are the best ones to get a hold of because they're more likely to actually do their job.
The ones that aren't
And
jaded yet.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And so we need to shout him out and say thank you
Yep.
because he did take you seriously. And so you were able to get a police report because we've seen many families that they lie to him and say, "Oh, well, you can't report for 72 hours," or all these crazy things. Um, but you also put a spin on it when you told him so that he would feel sorry for you, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I told him, I said, we haven't seen him for over a year. I mean, no, before you, and I had to stop him because he was going to start saying something. I said, for all we know, he could be deceased. And what are you going to do if he already is and we don't have the number to try to go find? What if he's laying somewhere? We need this so we can get in touch with another organization or another entity to help us find him. I think that's what kind of thought, oh, yeah, okay, so he did it.
And that's
Because
awesome.
that's the
And
worst of our nightmare was to think he passed. You know what I mean? He's not in touch with me. He's not in touch with his sisters. He's not in touch with his
right.
cousins, his other aunts up in White Shield. And he's got aunts all over up here in North Dakota. And none of them have heard. That's what I told him. I said, what if he's deceased? And we don't know that.
Yeah. Well, and I
So,
think that was the way to do it. You did a beautiful job, and I think other families can use that and say, "Hey, this could," because you don't want to think that, and you're hoping for the best. But if that gets them to do their job, hey, that's what we need. We need them to do it because if something had happened to him in California, you might never know, you know.
Yeah.
So hopefully he is in North Dakota. And maybe he's just still too embarrassed because, he has probably fallen off the wagon. And, with everything he's been through, but some investigations need to be done with some of these organizations that are
yeah,
praying, and using God's name and then abusing people. I mean, that's hideous.
Yep.
I mean, that's because there are those organizations that really do help, you know, but for these that are kind of sketchy, someone needs to be looking into them.
Well, this whole thing just reminds me of a Jim Jones type, you know,
Yeah,
organization. It's just
yeah.
yikes.
Well, and I'll tell y'all, I went down the Reddit hole. We all know Reddit can be kind of sketchy, but I looked up this YWAM group. And there was some people that they said, number one, this organization is not really monitoring each different avenue of the or each chapter. So they kind of have their own rules. So you don't know who's in charge. Some of them do have problems with them taking their money, that they try to keep you penniless, that they also try to get you to share a deep, dark secret to keep you under control. They tell you not to contact your family. So I'm not saying they did this, but I'm saying if they did, that could be why Joe's not reaching out because who knows what they've told him. Don't contact your family. They're not going to help you. So we don't know what kind of brainwashing has gone on. Some people have gone through this organization and had a wonderful experience. Some of these dudes are predators. And if this organization is not going to keep control, they're in 180 countries, you guys. 180
wow.
countries, and they're going after the vulnerable and the young. And because Joe had a good heart, he became a victim. And he told his friend in that one DM, he said, I wish I had never got mixed up with them. And I asked his friend, I said, how did he hear about this group? Because he'd been with Warrior Circle. How did he hear about this group? And he says, I think it was someone he knew that told him about it. So, I mean, if these people are using people and just passing them on to the next organization, like I've got what I can out of you, so I'm going to pass you on. And there are pastors here in Texas, Denton, Texas, that Joe had communicated with. And one woman in Arizona, he made the comment because he does have some teenage children. And he said, I miss my kids and I want to go see them. And she says, your ministry is more important. Right there is a warning sign. If you're supposed to be ministering to other people, but they tell you not to take care of your own children, that God's going to take care of them, something is wrong, people. Something is wrong. Because that's your responsibility to take care of your kids, right, Karen?
Yep. Yeah. Because Joel followed the red road also. And on the red road, our children are first. It's our children, our women, and our men. And that's how Joe believed, to take care of his children. That's his job as a man, to take care of the babies. And he knew that. He knows that.
So it sounds
And
to
for
me
them
like
to
this
say that.
group sounds like this group was telling him something totally different, that they were telling him that the ministry was more important than his children and his family. So
That almost sounds like it could be a situation where he's still suffering the effects of being brainwashed. If he had that
Yeah.
tie with his children, and now he all of a sudden doesn't, that leads me to believe that he's still suffering from the effects of that brainwashing.
well, I think they've exploited him financially, mentally. Um, I think Karen's right. She said it's like he's broke his spirit
Mm-hmm.
and he needs his family right now. And so that's why we want to do the show. We want to get Joe's name out there. Anybody in North Dakota, and we're not sure he's there. So in California, if you see Joe, contact the family. So many of his friends on Facebook kept saying, "Oh, well, we were wondering about Joe." Um, hey William, glad you were here, darling. Um, but nobody contacted the family. It's not that hard to look on somebody's Facebook to find family. Someone could have contacted you guys and said, "Hey, I haven't heard from my friend." Because you guys, Joe had a lot of people that he was friends with on Facebook. And a lot of people, when we wrote them and asked about him, they all had really nice things to say about Joe.
Mm-hmm.
One guy told me he taught me how to drum. Um, you know, they had such kind words.
And
And
when you think about, it's kind of a double-edged sword. The social media is, it's good in one respect and bad in the other. You get, you can find out lots and lots of information, and most of the time it may be useful information, but you still have to be careful of, of the bad element of social media. But it's hard to determine which is which when you're in the middle of a situation like that.
well, one of my problems with the whole thing is that the people with the warrior circle that weren't willing to help Karen,
Yep.
instead of trying to tell you, take this down, and they wanted to show their Christianity,
Yeah.
why weren't they saying, let us reach out to the people we know? Because when you start looking into some of these groups, they all know each other.
And the only thing that they could say was that he's never been a part of our organization. That's
when they took over. Yeah,
yeah.
when they took over, he was already missing. And it's like, how do you know?
Oh, okay. Hmm.
I mean, to me, that's suspicious. Oh, he was already missing. What? Did you guys send him away?
Yeah. Hmm. That's
I mean, that
concerning
just
to say the least.
and the fact that the one of those that sober house he was in was leased by them, the
Yeah.
Warrior Circle. So it's all interconnected.
It
And
just
these
seems like
people are
there's a lot of information that we're just scratching the surface on.
well, and two of these people that were mixed up in this Warrior Circle were elected officials.
Yeah.
South Dakota, you might want to be checking into your elected officials if they're running churches and sober houses and preying on the native community, the homeless community, and whoever they can get to put into these places. Because there's an article that was written down there in Arizona by a couple of reporters that talked about how it was a scam, that there's a bunch of scams going on down there. And I think quite a few of those people that were on his Facebook page, some of them had been in some of these places with him. And it's like, if he'd been in a couple of them, are you guys really helping them?
Yeah.
I mean, Karen, that doesn't sound like help to me. I mean, it's like, are they keeping them addicted so they can keep bilking the
I think
insurance
that's what I
companies?
think. I think that's what a story was out a year ago. I think there was a group of indigenous women who did an investigation on those houses, and that was part of it. They would bring them down there, and they wouldn't even check on them. They were getting high. They were getting drunk. They were going missing, like Joe. And those were people weren't even didn't care about them.
Yeah.
They didn't
All,
care that they were out there in the street. And just like Joe, they didn't care.
all they cared about was getting the
But
check.
yeah, but they kept the insurance coming to their accounts, and they kept the money, like Joe's money, going to their account, with Joe being there or not.
Yeah.
Because apparently the April check, it did go down to the bank. Well, Joel wasn't even, I believe, April, May. He was already back in the States in April.
Yeah. So who got that
So
check?
so he didn't get that check. Somebody else got that check.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And now his bank account is closed because the money went back to the tribe with this last quarterly check in August. And it could be that Joe doesn't think he even has money, right? He could think that they've
Yeah.
just,
He could think they're still milking his account.
yeah. So that's why he needs to be found. Please everybody, get his poster, get it all over your social media, because even if you aren't in North Dakota, you don't know if someone might scroll through your social media and see something. Get it out there. Let's get Joe found so that the people who really do love him and care for him can get him the help he needs. I mean, I think they took a man that had so much heart, that got devastated over the loss of his mom, and just poured it into these ministries that these people have then abused him, by preying on his feelings. And that breaks my heart.
Yep. Bottom line, they took advantage of a vulnerable person. That's so.
Yeah. And for someone that's used to being the strong one in the family, amongst his siblings, that would be hard to face and come home and say, I got taken advantage of. But it's like, it's okay because we love you. We don't care. We're not going to do it to you.
Well,
So
just like with his brother, when his brother was dying in May, passing away, we knew we had to take him off life support. That we thought Joe would really, come back for that. That was one of his younger brothers, and we needed somebody the older sibling, we needed that person to come to make that decision with the hospital to do that procedure, to because Micah was also a organ donor.
Okay.
So we needed to have someone come in for that. And all of us thought it should be Joe, because Joe is the one that always took lead on stuff. Like when his mother was dying, he took, he took lead with his mom.
Right.
And but when he texted my niece and said he wasn't, he didn't want us to know where he was at, and all he needed was $30, $60. He wasn't trying to come back, and that was a big red flag. And that's when we started in May to find out where's Joe.
Because
Then
you
it got
weren't
too
even sure that
serious. And
you weren't sure that was even him.
yeah, at first we didn't think it was him because that was not his character to not say, well, I'll fly home, or tell Auntie Karen or tell Auntie Birdie, tell one of us to get him some money so he can come home.
Right.
But he didn't even say that. So that to me was not a character of Joe. So that's why I told his sister Holly, I said, keep those messages because they kind of sound suspicious because he don't want us to know where he's at. That's not like him. And I kept telling I even told her, tell him to give you his location, and I'll call a friend in California so she can go over there and get him and maybe help him get home. Because we've done that also with our boots on the ground. We helped a young lady from Wisconsin who was left by her boyfriend. He got thrown in jail, and she was a young Indigenous woman from Wisconsin. And we networked with the Minnesota advocate, a California advocate, and myself, because I knew the father of this young girl, and he called me. So I got everybody together. The California group found her, and they worked with the Minnesota boots on the ground, and they got her back to Minneapolis, and she got back with her mother. So that was kind of how I was hoping we could do with Joel, but he wouldn't tell us where he was at.
Well, and he told her, because the reason you guys didn't think it might have been him is because number one, he said his phone was stolen. Was that?
Yes.
His phone
Yeah.
was stolen. He was using a computer at the library, but yet he wouldn't get on Messenger. And on Messenger, you can see each other.
FaceTime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't do that. So that's
Well,
why
he
it was
said, I can't.
suspicious.
Yeah, he was saying, I can't do that. I'm on a computer. I can't FaceTime, because I told her, tell him to FaceTime. And he kept saying, I can't do that. I can't do this on a computer. Yeah, you can do it on a computer.
Yeah.
As
So
long
that's
as
why
there's a camera.
Yeah. And he wouldn't do it. So that's why we start worrying that wasn't him. That wasn't him.
Mm-hmm.
And then most recent was his grandmother, 90 something years old. She passed away. So we tried, and he never showed up for that either. And that's his
Right.
mother's mom. So it could be, when you're into that addiction so strong that you can't see anything but that.
Right. Because
It's-
you've dealt with the addiction issue when you worked with people that have the addictions. And they don't see the need. But I think we're, because
especially when when there's a trauma tied onto them. And I think with Joe, there must have been a trauma, not only the trauma of losing his mom, but now he's losing his brother. And I don't know if because when his mother died, he went gung ho into the sobriety. He went full 2 legs in. He wanted to get into the ministry. I mean, he was, and all that. But then another trauma. I don't know what happened to him out there, but whatever happened to him could be a cause of why he is being so secretive. And I don't trust this. Yeah, and I don't trust this organization, which I feel is a cult. Who's to say they done something to him?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, if that one group, it's been said that they make people tell their deepest, darkest secrets. Well, the reason you do that is to get control over someone. So have they threatened to tell his deepest, darkest secrets to family, saying your family won't love you anymore if they know this about you? I mean, that could be traumatic. And I mean, some of these groups, I'm sorry, they need to be looked into because
Well,
they've got
he got mixed up with somebody. He should have. I mean, he got mixed up with something he believed in himself. Because Joe, his mother, Joe and his siblings, when they were small, their mother was a student at the Bible College in Mobridge, South Dakota. And these little ones, Joe, Holly, all of them, they were little. Molly, John, Michael, Micah, and Michelle. They used to do songs, and they would do the hand language, and they were just small little ones, and they would go up and sing, and they would do the Christian things, and they would be hand signals, or song. But they did such a good job that when Michael Bolton, he's a Christian artist at the time, back in the day, he came for a concert here in Bismarck, and he saw these little ones on a video. So he invited them up to his show here in Bismarck to perform. And Joe was one of them. So that I always think, so when he went into this with these people, he mostly likely assumed that they were that loving person that he is.
right.
And because that's all he's been around, people like Pastor Cole out here in Grand Forks. Pastor Cole knows him, and he knows all of our family, pastor. And he's had other pastors like Pastor Joel Cornelius, Pastor Rodney LaValle. Those are all our pastors that Joe knows. So we know how men of God are. So he most likely got hooked up with these guys who were obviously not that.
Yeah.
And like I said, it most likely broke his spirit. And if they have some deep secret that they're trying to keep on Joe, I wish I could see them and say, you really trying to threaten somebody who came from a family that has overcome so much crap that we're not even scared of our own demons anymore.
Yeah.
We all went through something, and we've all had faith. So I really, as an aunt, I feel more like his mom right now, because I just want to hug him and let him know, I don't care what you did. I don't care if you relapse. I don't care whatever your charges are, Joe. Just come home, and if you have to sleep for days at my home. You'll be safe. If you're hungry, help yourself. There's food in the fridge. If you just want to, talk, we'll listen.
Right. Yeah.
And to hug him and tell him, you didn't make no mistake. This isn't on you. You didn't do anything. And if he could hear me, I would say, you did what you did from your heart.
Yeah.
It was those people who took advantage of your beautiful heart and your beautiful spirit.
Agreed.
Yeah. I agree too. I do. And I hope somebody that knows Joe, if they do see him, please reach out. Let him know. Play this. Let him hear what his aunt is saying. She just wants him to come home so that they can care for him and he can build himself back up. He's done it before. He can do it again, but he needs to do it with his family and not with strangers that just have their hand in his pocket.
Yeah.
Because
we have a big family. He's got a big family on his mom's side, the Fox side, and on the Albert side, his other side of the family. He's got his aunt Leola White. He's got a big family at the Spirit Lake and in Fort Berthold. And he's also got on his father's side too. He's got a couple of sisters, Tara and Eliza Goodberg. And a brother. I don't know much about his brother, but I do know the two girls who've also been concerned about him. Tara even messaged me a while back and said, have you heard from Joe? That was when their father passed away, Willie Goodberg. He passed away back in, I believe, May or June, and she was looking for him.
Yeah.
And she didn't hear from him.
So he's lost about 4 family members since he's been missing.
And we just want him home.
Yeah. Let's bring Joe home. Everybody, let's get the word out there. Karen's a warrior herself. She's used to being the one with the boots on the ground, getting in the dirt and looking for people. So this is new for her. it's and nothing nobody ever wants to be on this side of the spectrum. Nobody. Um, of course, it's going to give you a new knowledge when you do deal with families now.
Yeah, because
And
now I know the hope, that the helplessness, the limitation, the all these ideas that pour into your mind. What if they're this? What if, and that rejecting the fact that they may be gone, but
yeah,
it's still in the back of your mind. I mean, all that. That's now I have more empathy than I did before for a family who has a missing loved one. And now doing these searches that I do with Lissa, it's gonna most likely it'll feel different this time. Probably more and more understanding for the
yeah,
family. I only understood that. I understand loss because I lost my son who was murdered in 2013. Recently lost my daughter in 2022. So I know what it's like to lose somebody, but not knowing where they're at
right.
is can really eat you up.
Yeah. And
That's
because
a tough one.
you've worked with these families.
Yeah.
You know, you've done motorcycle rides for them where you've collected the money and handed it right over to them so that they know that
Yeah.
you guys care enough that you're supporting them, because when families are going through this, there are expenses that come up. So they need help at times. And I think that's what's important. Is it with Karen and Lissa, you guys, it's not just words. They get into the trenches. They're there for the families, they're there for the long haul. Even after a family member's found, they still connect with these families. It's not like something they walk away from. Um, and real quickly here, let's go ahead and before we let Karen go, we have 3 missing people we just want to feature tonight. You guys stay alert. You can save a life by looking at these photos. Sometimes somebody leaves voluntarily and then it turns into a dangerous situation and they can't get out of. Sometimes they never have the choice, they're taken. So look at them wherever you're at. Some of these people might they're somebody's relative. If you notice anything suspicious, contact the authorities and don't assume somebody else is going to do it. You do it. Call the authorities. If you're scared to call the cops on any of these that you think you've seen, we have a tip line. It's an email. It's tips, the number 4, trialjunkiesunited@gmail.com. I'll call the cops. I don't have a problem with that. So our first one is Alicia Lynn Crossguns. She's 21, you guys. She's been missing since September 6th of 2025. She's Blackfeet. She's missing from Montana. She has brown hair and black, or hold it, yeah. Her eyes are brown. Her hair is black. She's only 4 foot or 5'4", tiny thing. She weighs 140 pounds. She has a tattoo of bats on her left shoulder. Good as distinguishing remark there. If you have any information, you call the Blackfeet Loss Enforcement Services at 406-338-4000 or call your local 911. You guys are local cops. The next gentleman is Joshua. I don't know how to say this name.
Salto.
Salto.
Yeah.
He's 25. He's been missing since May 5th of 2025 from the Whitefish Lake First Nation in Canada. Goodfish Lake RCMP is asking for help to find him. Joshua won $1 million in a lottery, you guys. You heard me right. He won a $1 million lottery prize. He has not been seen or heard from since the early morning hours of May 5th, 2025. The police and his family are very concerned. He's got brown eyes, brown hair. He's 5'10". He weighs 190 pounds. Contact the Good Lake RCMP at 780-645-8888. And Crime Stoppers up there, 1-800-222-8477. Our last one, this is Randy Jiminy. He's 34. He's been missing since October 7th from Bethel, Alaska, one of our Alaskan natives. And don't forget all of the Yupik people up there that have gone through the terrible typhoon. But, Randy was on Willett and Chute Road near Wallace Road in the Brentwood Baldwin area. He's 5'8", 180 pounds. They thought he was wearing a red shirt. That's phony information. Bethel Police Department at 543-3784 or 81. I'm sorry. Or call the rescue department up there at 545-4357. Doc will put all that in the description.
Yep.
Don't forget Joseph. We will put Joseph's information in there with the numbers to contact. Because if somebody's seen him, he's a son, he's a father, he's an uncle, he's a nephew. He is loved, you guys. He is deeply loved by his Auntie Karen, and he deserves to be found. This case highlights something we see over and over again in Indian country. The people are vulnerable to organizations that promise help, but what they deliver? Exploitation. Sober houses with questionable practices, ministries that isolate people from their families, financial manipulation. When someone goes missing, there's a pattern of deflection instead of answers. Karen has devoted her life to the work of helping people. She's witnessed many families searching for answers. Karen, what motivates you?
I think it's just that for when it comes to the recovery and the domestic violence part, it's kind of, I'm a survivor of both of those. And then now it's just the empathetic of another parent, because I was being a parent myself and a grandmother. I would want someone to come help me if it were one of my own. So I always had that thought and belief that if you treat people how you want to be treated, my father was telling me that when I was little, you treat them good. And if they don't treat you good, that's okay, because you're still that good person.
Right.
So I try to do what I can, because it's the images of those people, the moms, the grandmas, the children. Like when we searched for Susan Fasteagle, seeing her daughter, her little one, and you just want to keep going. Like we went, I was with Lissa. I think we walked around Rapid City till 4:00 in the morning, because you see that person's face that's missing, and that's your motivation to keep going. And you put yourself in situations that ain't safe, but you're there because of that, and you're there because you got your faith. You know you're covered by the Great Spirit, and He'll take care of you because you're doing something that He called you to do. So that's why I do what I do.
Karen, we thank you so much for coming on. I know this was hard for you because you're not used to being on this side of the
No,
thing. And Joe was
no,
Joe is a beautiful young man who his family wants him home. And so everybody, the best thing you can do is make sure that you get this out on social media. Get his picture out
Yep.
there, plaster it. Um, I appreciate you all for coming tonight. Let's get the mojo that goes with getting YouTube to get this video out to more people. Hit the like button. Make a comment after the video has processed. Share the video. These things help all those algorithm. I don't know. I don't
Yep.
understand all
No,
that stuff.
comments and sharing and just subscribe, not so much subscribing, but at least having other people watch. It makes so much difference to the algorithm, that they'll keep on promoting it and hopefully get it to people that needs to go
Right.
to, so that they can see Joe and what has to happen. Come home.
Right.
Be-
Because there's never shame on this channel when someone has addiction. We never shame people because we've talked about generational trauma. We've heard about the trauma that he's gone through with these organizations. No shame there. None. He was taken advantage of. He just needs to come home. Um, his auntie Karen is waiting for him. Well, she's not waiting. She's kicking ass and taking names. Let's be honest, and that's what she's
Yeah.
gonna do because that's what she's good at.
No, I have all their names written here, and I have a number. I'm gonna work on them.
Okay.
Okay.
We gotta find out who they are.
Well, call me
And yeah,
tomorrow.
we're getting,
You call me tomorrow, honey. I'll help you with more names if you need me to. You know
oh,
that.
good.
I have no
And
problem.
I want to say thank you. You really helped us get this out there. You gave us the answers for what we had to do next. It's not, like I said, I was never on the side of the MMIP.
Yeah.
And when it came to my own relative, you do feel helpless, but you gave us a lot of vital information that helped me get to Fargo to do the paperwork we had to do. And then you found a lot of this extra names that we never even heard of. And our family is really, really appreciating to you too. You did a lot for our people, our family, the
Well,
Fox family.
I love you guys, and you know I'm a huge Lissa fan. And if you're Lissa's
Oh, I
family,
know.
everybody
Yeah,
loves Lissa and the boys.
hopefully this weekend I'm with Lissa and the boys up at Spirit Lake for our search for Gemini Cozy.
Right.
So that's our next adventure.
Yeah, because Lissa's getting ready to go on a big search, and hopefully Karen can help. So this is what our Thursday nights are about, you guys. This is why we dedicate the entire Thursday night to Indigenous and Native stories, because everybody matters. Joseph Fox matters. Every missing person deserves their story to be told and their family to have the support. And we thank Karen for coming and for the courage in sharing Joseph's story, because this is vulnerable for her. She hasn't been on this side, and we appreciate that. And so we know you do this work all the time for your community and try to help them. And so I want you all to think about that and remember that anytime you hear of somebody exploiting someone, whether with using God, which is just so wrong,
Mm-hmm.
or in any way, say something. Let other people know. And if anybody's had an experience with this YWAM or the Warrior Circle and it wasn't good, trialjunkiesunited@gmail.com. Contact us. Let's get the word out, because we want people not to be victims of these people anymore. Remember our motto, our hashtag, silence is betrayal. So we're not going to be silent. We're going to say their name, and we're sorry, Miss Grove. We're not taking your stuff down. We're putting it out there. If you're doing what's right, the Christian thing is then you help look for him.
Mhm.
If anybody has a story that they want to tell, or just they need a platform to talk about their family or an experience, trialjunkiesunited@gmail.com. We're here to give you a platform and to help you in any way we can. So let's tell our stories so no one's forgotten. That's why I call myself a storyteller. I want these stories out there. I want everybody to know. We appreciate every one of you guys that come and listen, and we appreciate you sharing. We're going to see you on Sunday, and I'm going to be in touch with Karen. We'll keep up to date on Joe's case. Hopefully he gets found soon. Let's keep our Alaskan brothers up in the villages that were hit by a typhoon in our thoughts and our prayers, as long as with Joe's family, because we want him found. Yeah, Fala, Moo was here,
Moo.
my cat. She always has to make a thing. So we're going to go ahead and sign off. I'm going to be in touch with Karen. I'll probably chat with her tomorrow, because we'll see what else we can come up with. And if anybody's got any ideas for Karen or anything to help, her Facebook is Karen Skye. She's easy to find, and any help is appreciated. And that's what we're here for, you guys. So we love you all, and have a good night. Ciao.
Joe Fox, where did you go? Karen Skye needs to know. Dakota, the man who knows the ways. Dances, songs, and drums you'd play. When your mother died, grief took you down, but your auntie won't let you stay. Lost now. We need to find Joe, bring him home. Karen searching, you're not alone. Ready to kick butts, taking every name. Finding Joe is her mission. She won't stop, won't back down. Searching every single town. She's helped other families, never thought she'd be here on the side of the search, but she has no fear. You have good humor and laughter filled the room, protective of your family but lost in the gloom. Karen Skye won't stop, she won't back down on this side, but she knows the fight. She'll bring you home to the light. You loved your mother with all you had when someone cared for you instead. No matter the downfall or the pain, your family's love always remains. They're ready to wrap you in love so true, with their waiting arms open wide. Karen's prepared to be your guide. We need to find Joe, bring him home right now. Karen Skye is searching, she'll see him somehow. Ready to fight hard, take every name. She'll turn this world upside down, ignite the flame. We need to find Joe before he's seen. She won't give up, won't back down. No matter the downfall, no matter where you've been, your family cares. They want you home again. No matter the pain or the fall, your family is ready to wrap you in love through it all. Arms open wide, they're waiting there. Come back to the people who have always cared. She's been on the other side, she knows the fight. Help family search through the darkest night. But now it's personal, now it's her blood. Karen Skye's coming like a flood. The Dakota community needs you here. Your presence, your spirit, they hold